Sage Gayatri takes her along the river and starts telling her stories of women sages, stories with messages, and the message is always about love, because love is the foundation of Dharma. Love is the foundation of the universe. And when we come to understand magnetism more in the higher age, we'll see that magnetism is an expression of love. The whole universe is held together by this love. Sage Gayatri says, there is a woman rishi named Apala. She is said to be the daughter of the Maharishis Atri and Anasuya. So Anasuya had a daughter. We don't hear much about her. These two great rishis have already lived for so long. Maharishi Atri is one of the Saptarishis, 7 great sages who remain on earth for an entire cycle of time, the 24,000-year cycle, to guide humanity. He has brought forth some of the most complex hymns of the Vedas, and a person has to be quite advanced in knowledge to understand their true meaning. Apala is not as well known as the sons of these 2 great sages, but she is every bit as wise. When she came of age, a student of her father's wanted to marry her, but he was inspired not so much by love as by the thought of being married to the daughter of the great Rishi. Apala knew this. But since he was a beloved student of her father's, she agreed. Some years after the marriage, she developed a terrible skin condition. In fact, she knew this condition had been sent by Indradev, but her husband didn't realize that he was being tested. Disgusted at the sight of her diseased skin, he abandoned her. Actually, Indra is much beloved by the sages, for he is the spiritual power that reveals the inner light, that retrieves it from the hidden places. He releases that inner illumination, the light of knowledge that has been overshadowed by darkness, the forces of ignorance. In this role of entering the darkness of our minds to make known the inner light, one of his duties is to test the sages, and he was testing them both. If a sage fears Indra, it is because he fears the tests that will come. But these tests are only meant to strengthen him or her. However, Sage Apala realized her husband had failed his test. She was not surprised, because his love was not very deep, but she was determined to help him. One day she was walking in the forest when she came across a soma plant, which is used to make the drink of immortality and is beloved by Indradev for the intense joy it bestows. One knows that one has achieved immortality when one is able to be always in this state of indescribable joy. It is very rare to find that plant, and instead of keeping it for herself, she decided to offer it to Indradev. Plucking the plant, she called out to him, and bowing low, made the offering. He appeared to her, and in response to her devotion and generosity, bestowed on her 3 boons. Actually, they come as a result of one's spiritual efforts, usually after long years of meditation. In this case, Indradev offered these boons to Apala because she had passed 2 tests and risen above selfish desire. Instead of turning bitter after her husband abandoned her, Apala's love increased. Instead of ingesting the soma plant, she had offered it to Indra. And so Indradev knew the purity of her heart. He told her the first 2 boons would manifest immediately, but she would have to strive to gain the 3rd boon. Guess what she asked for? Due to her selfish nature, the first 2 boons she offered to her father. Remember, this is Sage Atri. For his long life and prosperity, that he would always have what he needed, and those wishes were granted immediately. He became young again, and his hair, which was falling out from age, began to grow. Since the Saptarishis lived for so long, when their bodies age, they discard the body they'd been inhabiting and take a new one. Maharishi Atri does not have to do this. Because of this boon his daughter dedicated to him, his body doesn't age. And so he can avoid the problems of discarding one body and taking another. The third boon Sage Apala requested was to help her husband overcome his short-sightedness. But she was going to have to work to gain that. She found a cave where she could enter solitary meditation, over 1,000. She encountered difficult struggles, but she persevered because she knew that her husband could not advance spiritually until his heart opened. It is said that Indradev pulled her through the eye of the wheel of his chariot. That's true, that is in the tradition about her, that Indradev pulled her through the eye of the wheel of his chariot. It means that Indradev put her through many tests, but she surmounted them all. Finally, one day, she came out of her meditation and returned home, not as an aged woman, but a very beautiful young lady. Her skin was as clear as a cloudless sky. While she had been in meditation, her husband had died and been reborn several times. She knew he was now a young man, so she searched and found him. As soon as he saw her, he fell deeply in love, not with her beauty, but with the strength of her spirit, with her spiritual attainment. Her meditations had helped him grow spiritually, so he could understand what truly mattered. They married again, but this time he loved her deeply. And their marriage provided many benefits to society because they were a model of a perfectly balanced couple, each honoring and respecting the wisdom of the other. To grow in understanding takes time. Sage Apala didn't mind how long she had to wait. Her only thought was to help her husband grow spiritually. That is true marriage, a true partnership. We should not seek anything less. She could have asked for that boon right away, but she didn't, because she realized that the long life and well-being of her father was of more importance than any personal desire. His contribution to humanity is very great, and she first sought his welfare, placing her own needs and those of her husband last. There are many important lessons in the life of Sage Apala, who then went on to bring forth some of the Vedic hymns. From the beginning, Indradev saw how it would all unfold. He knew of her selfless nature. He knew that she would ask for her father first. He also knew of Maharishi Atri's importance to the Vedas, so this was part of a greater plan. The gods see far and wide and are not limited to a narrow human vision.